Good morning, class 12th. Today we are continuing with the recombinant DNA technology. Yesterday we have studied about the isolation techniques, and what we have done, we have isolated the DNA of interest, and now we are ready. We have the DNA, we have the gene which we want the multiple copies to be formed of. Okay, so the next topic here will be cloning vectors. What is a vector? A cloning vector is a DNA molecule which is used as a vehicle to transfer foreign genetic material into another cell. And what is this foreign genetic material? Yes, it is the DNA of interest. So now the DNA of interest has to be transferred to the another cell. And what is that another cell here? That is the host cell. Clear? So we need a carrier, we need a transporter which will carry our gene of interest and will take it to the host cell. So this vector is very important. We have some naturally occurring vectors present. The naturally occurring vectors can be plasmid. The plasmid DNA which is found in the bacteria is a naturally occurring vector. Another naturally occurring vector are the bacteriophages. Bacteriophages are the viruses which are infecting the bacteria. So these plasmids and bacteriophages have the ability to replicate within the bacterial cells independent of the control of chromosomal DNA. So that is why whenever the bacterial cell or the host cell is multiplying, the plasmid vector or the bacteriophage vector is multiplying along with it. So generally we are using these two types of vector, but I'll be telling you about the other types also. There are three major types of vectors, which are plasmid vector, which is naturally occurring, viral vector, which is again naturally occurring, and the third category is artificially designed vectors. These are being generated by some technology. They are being generated in the laboratory by incorporating certain things and circularizing a DNA so that it acts as a carrier of the DNA of interest. Clear? So the vector itself is generally a DNA sequence that consists of an insert, the transgene. Insert can also be called as transgene. So there are now many terms for the DNA of interest which we have isolated yesterday. That is the DNA insert, the DNA of interest, the transgene, okay, and a larger sequence which serves as a backbone of the vector. So vector is basically comprising of two major things: a backbone of the vector itself, that is the body of the vector itself, that is the DNA of the vector itself, plus it has been converted into a recombinant DNA by adding the DNA insert. Clear? So a vector is carrying our isolated DNA to the host. I think this must be clear to all of you. Now coming on to the next, properties of a good vector. What are the requirements that a good vector should have? A good vector should be easily isolated from the host cell. Clear? That means if we are using a bacteriophage or a plasmid, or we have created an artificial vector, so they should be easily isolated from the host cell. But because what we have ultimately to do, we have ultimately to isolate the products from the host cell and isolate the plasmid, the recombinant DNA copies from the host cell. So it should be easily isolated from the host. Second is, it should be small in size. Why? Because if the vector is large enough, there may be breakage. They are more prone to break down during the whole process of this genetic transformation, during the whole process of this genetic engineering. So the vector should be small in size. Third, it must have an ORI. What is an ORI? I wanted to teach you protein synthesis earlier, but just now understand what is an ORI. ORI is the origin of replication. ORI can be origin of the transcription. Transcription is again formation of RNA from DNA. ORI of replication can also be there. ORI of translation can also be there. It is a recognition sequence from where the transcription starts, from where the copying of the expression of a particular gene starts from the ORI. So there should be an origin of replication marker present in the good vector. This will give a signal that okay, from this point, if ORI is located at one point, so the host will understand that this is the ORI. So after that I have to start with the replication process and continue the replication for that particular portion of DNA also. So it must have an ORI. This point will be more clear to you once I'll teach protein synthesis. Next is, it must have at least one recognition site for restriction enzyme. I have told you about restriction enzyme yesterday. So restriction enzymes are cutting or producing nicks at particular recognition sites. So a good vector should have at least, if more are present, multiple cloning sites are present, that is very good. Multiple cloning site will be having multiple recognition sequences, but at least one recognition sequence is a must for a good vector. Next is, must have at least one selectable marker. That is a gene which helps to select the host cells containing the vector from the population of cells. This is a very important factor. Sometimes what happens, the selectable, sometimes when we are introducing the recombinant DNA, the recombinant DNA will have two things, the vector DNA plus the DNA insert. So when we are introducing the recombinant DNA into a host, sometimes host readily takes up the vector. Okay, remember whenever I am telling you about vector, I mean that vector is carrying the DNA insert. So the vector is, when vector is readily absorbed, readily accepted by the host, then there should be, how we will come to know. So for our benefit, we need at least one marker gene present. That marker gene should give us some signal. That signal may be in the form of some product formed, or maybe in the form of some fluorescence produced, or maybe in the form of some antibiotic resistant gene. So this selectable marker is very important to find out, to screen or to filter the host cells which have our vector and the host cells which do not have our vector, which are not ready to be transformed, which are not readily accepting the vector with the DNA insert. Okay, the antibiotic resistant gene, another requirement is antibiotic resistant gene. That antibiotic, sometimes the selectable marker, I told you, the selectable marker can be the antibiotic resistant gene also. It can serve the both purposes. Why we need an antibiotic resistant? Again, to filter out. If all the cells are growing in a culture medium and we are treating it with an antibiotic, so what will happen? The cells which are resistant to that and particular antibiotic will be living, will be growing, and others will die. So this will ultimately make us understand that when we have treated with a particular antibiotic, all the non-transformed cell, that is all the non-acceptor of the vector cells are dying. What we are left over with are only the transformed cell, only the host cells. Transformed cells are the host cells which have the vector along with the DNA insert present. So these properties are very, very important. This comes in 4 marks also, it can come in 4 marks, and then you have to elaborate, or it can come in 2 marks also. Then you have to write down any 4 points. Clear? So this is a very important point.